Hey folks, my name's Cody. I'm the retail manager here at Angler's Covey Fly Shop, and we're going to talk a little bit about early season lake fishing. It's been a pretty mild winter. A lot of the lakes are ice-free or nearly ice-free. And the big one everyone's been asking about is Spinney, and they've actually announced an opening day of April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke. It's going to open April 1. Technically, it's a half hour before sunrise, and according to their website, that is 6:14 a.m. If you plan on going, get there early. There will be a long line, but it's going to be some great fishing. Those fish haven't seen people in months, all winter. They're hungry. It's always a blast fishing that opening day or even opening week. So right now, I'm just going to go over a few pieces of gear and talk about flies, just to kind of get you ready and ramped up to hit some of these early season lakes, because it's not just Spinney. We got 11 Mile, we got Tarryall, we got Rampart. Pretty soon the Catamounts are going to open. Don't forget the South Slope Recreation Area. So there's a lot of water to fish around here, and the season's just getting started. But right now we're just going to focus on that early season lake fishing. So there's a few pieces of key gear we want to have. A lot of it's going to be indicator fishing. Fishing those flies subsurface. One really important piece is that indicator. A lot of us really like these slip strike indicators, especially the float tubers, because what happens is you land that fish, you're bringing them to your tube. If you have that indicator that's stuck on your leader, you can't bring your line in anymore. So what do? Slip strikes are pretty cool because they can slide up and down your leader after you catch that fish. So real simple, all you do is you thread your leader through the middle of this indicator, this little plastic piece. You make a loop, you lock it in there. So that's how you can adjust your depth, and it's going to stay locked in place. But after you hook into a fish and this comes under tension, it's going to pop loose, and that indicator can slide on you, making it real easy to land fish. You can bring those fish all the way into you. So we keep these here at the shop. If you need practice on how to rig those, come in the shop. We're absolutely happy to show you how they work. So pretty key there. You can buy just the indicator, where Umpqua makes a pretty cool leader that's already rigged with that slip strike in place, loop-to-loop connection on the end. This guy is actually around 12 feet long, and what's cool is they put little marks on the leader to help you adjust that depth, so you can really dial in. I want to be at 3 feet, I want to be at 5 feet, I want to be at 10 feet. These are really slick. There's a little snap swivel on the end. You just attach your tippet to it, some split shot if you want extra, your flies, and you're good to go. So these are pretty slick and simple to use. So those are for the leeches, the eggs, scuds, chironomids. We'll talk a little bit more about flies here soon. All those patterns are going to be fishing under an indicator. You can also fish streamers. A lot of guys will get out in their pontoons, float tubes. They may be actively stripping in streamers. They may be kicking them around and trolling them. So one of the issues that comes up are, guys like, well, do I need to buy a sinking line or an intermediate line? A lot of us have, 90% of our lines are probably floating lines. What's really cool is that Rio makes these Versaleaders, so you can basically really quickly convert your floating line into a sink tip line if you're trying to fish deeper streamers and stuff. These come in different lengths, different sink rates, so you can kind of fine tune what you're doing here. Loop-to-loop connection on one end, just put it right on the end of your floating fly line, and like I said, it converts it right to a sink tip line. On the other end, it tapers down to, I believe it's like 12 pound just nylon. You can either attach a tippet ring if you want kind of a hard termination, and then do your fly off of that with some tippet. But like I said, these are pretty slick, pretty cool, and you don't have to bother with buying a full sink line or a whole other sink tip line and spare spools. These are pretty quick, and like I said, we stock those in different lengths and different sink rates. I did mention the tippet rings. We keep those in stock as well. A lot of guys, you're hearing these being used in the Czech nymphing, the Euro nymphing, the Spanish, Polish, yada yada yada. I don't do a ton of that fishing, but I still use tippet rings a lot. They create a nice clean termination point. They help keep your split shot from sliding down to your flies. You can do dropper flies off those tip rings. So they're actually really handy, even if you're not necessarily doing that very specific Czech nymph style. Quick little tip there for threading these things on, because people look at these and are like, well, how the heck do you attach that to your tippet? They're minute. Keep it on this little swivel that they sell them on, and you tie it on just using that improved clinch knot to the first one. wet it, cinch it down, and then that way you can pull it tight while it's still on that swivel, and then you just pop it off the swivel, you're good to go. All right, so going back to streamers, early season I like to fish a lot of olives and whites, stuff like your meat whistles, your boogeymans, your ice picks, and I'll throw those from the shore a lot of the times. If you've ever done a lot of streamer fishing, you've probably noticed your hands can get torn up a little bit. You've probably noticed I've been wearing these little, they look like mini buffs on my fingers. So I like to use these little stripping guards. So when I'm stripping line in, especially if you fish textured line, which can feel like sandpaper sometimes, you're not tearing your fingers up. These weigh next to nothing. You forget you have them on, and they come in little 3-packs. Just throw them in your pack and you're good to go. Saves you from getting torn up riverside or lakeside. So yeah guys, so quick recap. Strike indicators, these slip strikes are pretty cool, especially when you're fishing lakes. The Versatips convert your floating line to a sink tip line. Tippet rings, very versatile. The strip guards, and then those early season lake flies, you're going to want to focus on leeches, olives, blacks, even maroons, reds, chironomids, so your crisscross chironomids, your chirono cones, your juju cones, any of these chironomid patterns you're going to be wanting to fish. Eggs, scuds, olives, oranges, and then those streamer patterns we mentioned, the sparkle minnows, the ice picks, the boogeymans, and like I said, my favorites are some of the whites and the olives for this early season ice off stuff. So yeah, so again, Spinney, April 1st, it's less than a week away. Get excited, and that just means all the other lakes are soon to open behind them. So give us a call here at the shop, swing in the shop. We're happy to talk about where to go, what's opening, what's fishing well. We're happy to help you guys out. So yeah, and stay tuned. We're going to do more of these videos highlighting new gear, tips, tricks, new patterns. If you guys have any kind of requests for a video you'd like to see, shoot us a message and we'll be happy to put something together for you. All right guys, we'll see you next time.